to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. One of her advocacy, always stand in your power and have the courage to speak your truth. She's a trauma coach, retired firefighter, as well as an author and the author of the book You're on Your Own. No other than Miss Lynette Pitcher. Welcome, Miss Lynette on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Well, thank you very much for having me. It is an absolute honor to be here. I don't think you missed a whole lot. I am a retired firefighter who lives in northern Alberta, Canada, and I wrote a memoir called You're on Your Own. It is a story of my life, starting from childhood to present. I was a career firefighter for 14 years, the first and only female in the department. So I wanted to share my story about my experiences and what really happened behind closed doors. I know many can relate to be seen and not heard, and I silenced my voice for pretty much my whole life. And now I am on a mission to empower others to speak their truth and have the courage to stand in their power and use their voice and own their power.
Use your voice and your power for sure. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Lynette. Thank you. The title your own can sound stark, even for fighting. How do you redefine this phrase not as a warning of abandonment, but as a declaration of empowerment and agency?
I was told I was on my own, and I did everything on my own. But in reality, you're not on your own. So it is a declaration that it takes a village. We have community, we have connection. There are more of us than we realize. And when we choose to actually be vulnerable and stand in our truth and speak our truth, people come flooding in. People can relate on so many levels.
Miss Lynette, tell us, what was the catalytic, personal, or cultural moment that made you realize this book needed to be written? What were you seeing people struggle with this idea addresses?
I had always said that I would write a book someday. I just didn't know exactly what it would be about. And I reached a pivotal point in my career where I had to make the hard decision to leave the career that I absolutely loved in order to be able to tell my story, because I couldn't tell my story if I was still employed. So I made the decision to leave so that I could tell the truth about what really had gone on throughout my life and my career, and use it to empower others to be able to do the same. It has turned everything that was meant to destroy me into the most powerful piece of guidance and support that I can give other people.
Well, inspiring, Miss Lynette. Truly inspiring. Many self-help books focus on community and finding your tribe. How does your message of being on your own coexist with, or even precede, the need for meaningful connection and support?
It wasn't intended to be a self-help book. It was for me. Honestly, it was just for me to have the opportunity to tell my story, because I needed to do it in order to take my healing to the next level. It was solely personal. I had no idea the impact that it would have on other people. People from all over the world have messaged me complete strangers, on how much they could relate to my story, how they felt seen, how they felt heard. And the fire service is a very toxic culture, and so is many of the first responder aspects, policing, ambulance, nursing. People could relate to it from a first responder sense, but people could also relate to it from the sense of a mom and of being a woman and having been silenced and keeping secrets to keep others comfortable. Having been in abusive relationships, people reached out to me and said, I can totally relate from an abusive relationship side. So it has had a massive impact in ways that I never even imagined. Like I said, I wrote it for me and thought if it would just help one person, I had done my job, but I believe that it has done way more than that.
Yes, and thank you so much again for empowering us, Miss Lynette. You deserve an applause. Is the core argument of the book that traditional support systems, rigid institutions, even some family structures are fundamentally broken, or that we outsource too much of our sovereignty to them?
Systems are very broken. Um, the book is more on a personal level of being silenced by shame, of being afraid to be vulnerable, keeping secrets to keep others comfortable. It is definitely in the culture of the fire service. We don't show our feelings. We don't let others know that we are hurting. There's still so much shame behind that, and I don't I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Yes, definitely, Miss Lynette. It's empowering answer on the personal and psychological journey. A major hurdle is the internal script that says I should be able to rely on X. What is the first mental shift someone must make to start rewriting the script and embrace self-reliance?
The first thing that comes to my mind is the powerful quote that changed everything for me. And it's, you don't have a secret, you have a story. And I believe every single one of us has a story that needs to be told.
Hmm. Yes, and again, thank you for sharing to the world because they are truly empowered. So, can you describe the moment of ownership when someone stopped blaming external forces for this situation and truly accepts that they are, in fact, in their own?
You have to get really honest with yourself. When you are wanting to heal, when you are wanting to level up, when you are wanting to be the absolute best version of yourself, you have to get brutally honest with yourself and accept what role you're playing in your own suffering. And that is what I had to do. I had to be vulnerable, which was the one thing that I swore that I would never do because I thought that it meant that I was weak. And once I got brutally honest with myself and accepted the role that I was playing, I realized that I had to be vulnerable and I had to speak up and I had to speak my truth and I had to stop lying to myself and stop making excuses and justifying behaviors and things that were happening around me. I allowed them. And so many people do that. That just becomes our normal. And so people treat us that way because it's their normal, because we allowed it. And so that is my biggest piece of advice to anyone is look at yourself and what role you're playing in your own suffering and get brutally, brutally honest with yourself.
I like that, Miss Lynette. Brutally be honest to yourself. So, how do you help people navigate to grief or anger that come with this realization so it becomes fuel for growth rather than a trap of resentment?
You have to allow yourself to feel. You have to feel it to get through it. You have to feel it to heal it. You'll hear it on so many different levels. When you suppress your emotions, they will come out in the wrong form, which is exactly what happened to me. I suppressed my emotions, and then I would have explosive anger in moments when it wasn't justified. It had nothing to do with that moment. But emotions are meant to be expressed, and they will show up in the most inopportune times that have nothing to do with that moment, and they will just appear. And so, allowing yourself to feel your emotions when they happen is one of the crucial pieces.
The book likely tackles the permission of seeing or seeking habit. How does one transition from constantly looking for external validation to becoming their own source of authority and approval?
Again, brutal honesty. You have to accept what role you're playing in your own suffering. I was seeking external validation everywhere. I thought that was what would make me feel loved, what would make me feel worthy, what would make me feel good enough. And once I accepted that all of that came from within, it had nothing to do with anybody else, that was a game changer.
A game changer indeed. On practical application and building capacity, Ms. Lynette, being on your own requires a new skill set. What are the foundational practical skills you believe everyone must know to cultivate?
Healthy coping mechanisms involve mental and emotional and physical. You have to move your body. And so, practical tools, and I preach this to all of my clients, the people that I work with. Healing is a full body approach. We can work on the mental, we can work on the emotional, but if you are not moving it through your body and doing something physical to get it moving, to release it, you're missing the piece of the triangle. It all has to work together.
Yes, people, release it, and let it go. What does building your own infrastructure look like on a day to day basis? Is it about systems, networks, or personal operating philosophy? Ms. Lynette.
It is about healthy coping. It is about choosing healthy coping mechanisms rather than living in survival. It is about thriving and not just existing. When you are living in a trauma response, like I was for almost 2 decades, you don't have healthy coping put into place and you are barely surviving. And so, incorporating healthy coping, moving your body every single day, healthy, nutritious meals, listening to podcasts, going for walks, um, talking to your therapist, working with a trauma coach, all of the pieces, they all work together.
They are interconnected, people. Because even the universe, we are connected. In a world that often rewards specialization, how does modern self reliant person balance deep expertise with the necessity of being a competent generalist across their own life?
Oh, that is a big question. Um, I'm going to have to ask you to repeat it, please.
Yes, definitely. So, in a world often rewards specialization, how does modern self reliant person balance a deep expertise with the necessity of being competent generalists across their own life?
I honestly don't know how to answer that.
Well, it's good, Miss Lynette. Let's jump into the other question, which is how does one intelligently seek mentors, community, and help after internalizing that you're on your own mindset without falling back into dependency?
One step at a time. Don't put expectations on yourself. Give yourself grace, give yourself permission to fall back because you will. It is an absolute roller coaster ride. Buckle up and take it as it comes. And when you fall back, you look at the tools and the skills that you have acquired and you use them to keep moving forward. When you are on a healing journey and you are working through pieces like this, it takes two steps forward and one step back. And there's always a lesson. I'm a strong believer in there's always a lesson in everything. And if something keeps showing up for you, you haven't learned the lesson there yet. So you need to dig in, you need to get brutally honest with yourself and understand that the lesson that you need to learn before you can move forward.
Yes, give grace to yourself, people. Give grace. Stay on society, culture, and the future. Miss Lynette, is the message of your book a critical modern individualism, or is it a logical and necessary conclusion? How do you distinguish healthy self reliance from a toxic isolation?
Um, it's self reliance, it's your own journey, it's each person individually. None of us are on the same path. Each of us are in our own lane, on our own journey, and we have to be able to count on each other. There is more of us than we realize, and you can find us all over the place.
Definitely, you can find anywhere. So, Miss Lynette, as an author, what are your short term and long term goals?
I am in the midst right now of recording it on Audible, which is no small task. It's
Tell
41
me about
chapters,
it.
so it takes a while.
Yes,
But I am tackling that because it is my story and I wanted to tell it in my voice. So I am
awesome.
working through that right now. I have started a second book. It's not really related to this one. It is more of along the self-help lines, kind of stemming from this one. But that's what I'm working on right now so far.
Yes, and good luck to your goals and looking forward for more success, Miss Lynette. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Well, first of all, read the book is my best piece of advice. It has so many nuggets, so many pieces that people can relate to. But in all honesty, like I said before, you don't have a secret, you have a story. We all have a story that needs to be told. You have a voice, you have power. Maybe you've given it away somewhere along the way, but it is yours to reclaim. And I want you to have the courage to speak your truth, to stand in your power and speak your truth.
Speak the truth, people, but nothing but the truth. And thank you for that advice, Miss Lynette. And can you please recommend a book of books that influence your journey?
I loved the book The Uncaged Mind by Katie Potratz. She is a hypnotherapist. And then I also loved the book from Ed Milet, The Power of One More.
The Power of Ardmore. I like that book, Miss Lynette. And thank you for that recommendation. And tell us, if a reader finishes the last page and feels a mix of acceleration and terror, what is the first small non negotiable action you would tell them to take the next morning?
The book ends with power steps. So I would tell them to go back a few pages and read those again because there is so much power in it. There's lessons that every single person can take things away from. And again, you have the power within you. Everything you need is within you. You just might need a little bit of guidance or support to get there. If you are feeling terror, that is a telltale sign that that is where you need to do the work. Where we feel the most resistance is where we have to do the work. So that is telling you something, a very strong message that you need to listen to.
You need to do the work, people. You must. Okay, according to the book of Miss Lynette. And tell us what was the most difficult personal You're on your own. Lesson you had to learn on your own journey, and how did it shape this book?
I did the career on my own. I was told on my very first day of work that my coworkers had all had a meeting and been in agreement that if I got myself into any kind of trouble, they weren't coming to save me, that I was on my own. So I did my career with that in the back of my mind, and I was on my own. And that was a pivotal point that changed my career that day, and I didn't even know it.
Well, interesting and empowering answer, Miss Lynette. But before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract poetry in second season. My book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in third season. And my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101. Love Letters, Movie 101 Review, Music 101, our fourth season, Science 101, Sex 101, and eighth second season. And my baby podcast, Mental Health 101, Law 101, Bible Verses 101, Entrepreneurship 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Lynette, ultimately, what is the positive version on the other side of accepting this premise? What kind of freedom, creativity, or resilience become possible when you truly embrace that we are on our own?
Like I said, everything you need is within you. You hold the power yourself. We just need to dig. We just need some guidance. We just need some support to be able to find it. But you are way more powerful than you believe you are.
Yes, Miss Lynette. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your book, your advocacy, or your upcoming book?
You can find my book, You're on Your Own, on Amazon. And I am to be found on Instagram, Facebook at Fire Within Crisis Services. You can find me on my website, firewithincrisisservices.com. I offer a multitude of empowering, supportive, and guidance for you to navigate through any journey. And I would love to have conversations. If you read my book, I would love to know.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Lynette Fritro, because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering books like this to rise. So, Miss Lynette, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, people. See you soon.